Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. Welcome to this live stream. Got special guest Adam from What the Gym,
Hello.
all the way from England. He's our England expert, which is good to have on a Beatles stream.
Great,
Get,
great to be here.
yeah, it's good to have you on again. I guess it's been a while. I didn't realize it's been that
Yeah.
long since I had anybody on my stream. I guess I've just been on other people's a lot lately.
Yeah.
I see everybody. I'm around everybody. But yeah, and then I got Bryer from Breyer's Music Showcase.
Hello.
Hey, Bryer, you didn't see my my last video, have you?
Oh, that was the. Which one was it?
The Simon Garfunkel top 10.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I saw. Oh, yeah. I saw that. I left a comment on that.
Did you hear me mispronounce your name?
If you
Oh,
did, I probably forgot about it.
I think it was the last one. I said Breyer's Music Showcase,
oh, I remember seeing that.
Oh.
and then I corrected myself and said, "Oh, I meant showcase."
Well.
And then I said, "Hey, Bryer, that's
I guess we'll
another
do some
channel for
rebranding
you."
then. So yeah, it might be some time to rebrand.
Yeah, I said on the stream, maybe that's a new stream for a new channel for you, Bryer.
I'll think about it. I'll think about it. We'll see.
Anyway,
We'll see. Never say never.
But it is music showcase. I don't know why it was like a tongue twister for me for some reason. You got Nick here, of course. Nick,
Hey, Nick.
what's up?
The neck.
You doing well? So this live stream, we are talking about Beatles cover songs that the Beatles didn't originally write, that they covered. Mostly these are songs on, I mean, there's three major albums I would say these come from. Please Please Me with the Beatles and Beatles for Sale all had a lot of cover songs on them. Help had like two cover songs on them, and then pretty much after that it's all originals. So it's more of the really early Beatles really covered a lot of other music. Of course, the Beatles started out doing, didn't write their own music. Of course, they went to Hamburg, and they were, of course, going around Liverpool to the Cavern Club and the Casbah, I think, and some other places. And so they were just covering other people's their favorite artists. So they were covering a lot of the artists from the '50s era, I would say. I think like the big influences, I would say, is probably Smokey Robinson, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, and Elvis, of course, is maybe the main one. Carl Perkins, I know, is another one they really enjoyed. Anyway, so I think those are some of the major ones that they really listened to. They also loved girl groups. They actually like cover, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how many rock and roll bands were covering, these girl groups of the early '60s, and it worked really well for them because they had the great harmony, so they can harmonize like those girl groups, I think. So I don't know. I always felt like that was a unique thing about the Beatles, is that they can take Motown music and make it accessible for rock and roll, anyways. But yeah, so we're covering the cover songs. I guess I should first say, Adam and Bryer, if you want to plug your channels first. I know you've talked about your channels before, but I guess that's the thing we do usually. Adam, do you want to talk about your channel a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's been a while since I've been on one of your live streams, Jason.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So what I do in What the Gym is I just like Jason talk about music and movies and do quite a lot of YouTube shorts and live streams. And Jason and Brian have been in my live stream several times. And yeah, just love the Beatles and 60s and 70s music. Are my favorite decade of music. And
yeah,
it is for you as well, isn't it, Jason?
Oh yeah,
So, yeah.
Definitely my era of music.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks. Yeah, '60s and '70s. Yeah, absolutely love. Bryer kind of delves more into '80s, I think, than I do. But Bryer, you want to talk about what you do?
Yeah, so Breyer's Music Showcase, I purely talk about music. I tackle many genres. I go rock, I go metal, I go pop, I go R&B, I go all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
the background kind of shows it a little bit.
Rolling
But
Stones,
yeah,
Queen,
yeah, Rolling Stones, Queen, Steely Dan, Judas Priest, all
Steely-
all those bands. Yeah, so 60s, 70s, and 80s is kind of where my expertise lies. I do know some 90s stuff. I know some 2000 stuff, but not as much as those three I mentioned previously.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I have a huge CD collection. Just started getting vinyl a little bit. But yeah, that's my channel in a nutshell.
When I first met you, Bryer, I think you said he had someone like 500 CDs. I'm sure it's like
Yeah.
600, 700 now.
Yeah, not over 900 now.
Okay, 900. Holy cow.
Yeah,
Getting close to the
I'm
1,000 mark. Wow.
yeah, we're nearly there. About
Really?
about over 60 more to go.
Are you gonna do a live stream covering all the CDs?
Yeah.
I do plan to update my collection series I did last year, so probably next month I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have less than 40 CDs if I have to be honest.
Well,
Bryer.
that's a good starter set.
You'll probably count mine now. I'm looking directly at them.
Yeah, I tend to try to buy more vinyl than CDs, but except that vinyl's so expensive that I probably need to go back to buying CDs.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm having a hard time. In fact, I haven't bought anything in the last month because I'm just trying to recuperate. Financially. And I got a big trip coming up, so I'm trying to save money. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's hard not buying. Once you start buying vinyl and CDs, like it's like a continuous thing, you know.
Right.
It's hard to put a stop on it, but
Exactly.
so yeah, Adam, Bryer, really good friends of mine. Love having them. Love talking to them about music, and my favorite subject matter is the Beatles. So I always up for talking about the Beatles. In fact, it's something I wanted covering the Beatles cover song. Something I wanted to do for a while because it is interesting. Like you know, I don't know if people talk about it enough. Usually, you want to talk about the Beatles originals because those are the big hits. I mean, those are the best songs usually. In fact, I think anytime the Beatles do, you know, like I said, those three albums are probably considered towards the bottom of the list for most Beatle fans, I would say. Please Please Me, With the Beatles, Beatles for Sale. And it's because the cover songs kind of hurt those albums. I don't know. What do you guys feel about, you know, cover songs? Do you skip them? Do you think, man, why did they do a cover song? Or do you embrace the cover songs?
Yeah, I mean, I try to embrace them because especially in that time when those albums came out, that was kind of the thing you had to do. Like especially like many 60s bands started out doing a lot of covers because that's kind of they want to show their influence and just show their takes on it. But yeah, you know, I won't lie. Like, I mean, I'm not a particular covers guy, but every once in a while there's gonna be a cover where like, okay, they did a good job on that. And there are some those rare occasions, and where even the Beatles have a couple exceptions where their covers actually become the standard that we remember.
Yeah, everybody listens to that version of the song, not the original usually.
You both took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, I was just echoing with what you both said. But I wouldn't skip them though. The only Beatles song I'd skip is Revolution 9. That's the only one I'd
that's a
skip.
good one. Yeah,
I agree on that.
Yeah.
See, next, thanks. Twist and Shout is one of the best.
Okay.
I probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Of course, the Hollies also covered some Motown. My favorite being Mickey's Monkey. Yeah, Mickey's Monkey is interesting. I love that title, Mickey's Monkey. If Beatle fans think those albums are bad, the Hollies' first album, Stay with the Hollies, has 13 to 14 songs are covers and the one original is very mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started listening to the Rolling Stones, and their first two albums are like all cover songs.
Yeah.
And the issue, like, I don't know. I'm not a big Rolling Stones guy, but listening to it, I just like, it doesn't sound like, I didn't feel like the Rolling Stones in a sense. Like, it doesn't feel like they found their voice. It feels like they're trying to copy somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like they definitely, I'm sure once I get further on, it'll just get better because they'll finally kind of feel it's like their style.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the problem with cover songs. It's like it feels like you have to try to take what the original did and try to change it to fit your style, I guess. I mean, like Jimi Hendrix did it great with All Along the Watchtower. Birds did it great with Mr. Tambourine. You can't take a song and make it different. Keep the same elements, but yet somehow make it your own
Yeah.
and make it even better than the original. And the Beatles did a pretty good job at that, I would say.
It's quite a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
To do that, yeah.
I think so because it's easy maybe just to copy the original and put it out there, and sometimes it happens. But I think for the most part, the Beatles did. Because I try to listen to the originals on some of these and try to compare it to what the Beatles did, and go, okay, what did the Beatles do different? Because that's kind of interesting to kind of look at and go, okay. A lot of times, Beatles took like Motown music and they just changed it to, took out like I listened to some of the Motowns, and Motown like uses like horns maybe or something like that, and the early Beatles didn't use any horns, so they just compensated by just using the guitar for the horn section and stuff like that. I've noticed. It's like, okay, so that's what they did, um, and just John just had the greatest, to me, John had the greatest rock voice. I don't know, early on, like he really knew how to belt it out. So, man, he can take some of these early songs and just with his voice, he just makes it better in my sense, my opinion. I got my dad here. Twist and Shout and Please, Mr. Postman are the only two covers that I like. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Let's start seeing your dad on one of your live streams.
Yeah, I don't know if you do one or not. He's a little more shy, I think.
It's only my dad that puts comments in live streams.
Your dad always comments. And Nick says C-Star did the best covers, which I agree. C-Star did a really good job. In fact, their first Susie Q was like their first big one, and then Put a Spell on You, I think, was one of the early ones. Yeah, they did a really good job with the covers.
I've still got the CCR Greatest Hits to listen to. I've still not listened to it yet.
You haven't? Oh man, I bet
we'll get to that soon.
But yeah, so that's just me ranting or going on about cover songs. So let's get to. We're gonna go 10 through 6, I guess, kind of quickly, and then we'll go one at a time, 5 through 1. So if you want to start us off, Bryer, going 10 through 6.
All right. Yep. So just real quick. So number 10, I'm going to go with Money, That's What I Want, which was originally by Barrett Strong. Then number 9, I have Chains, which was originally by a group called The Cookies. And then
was that the one written by Carole King?
Might have. I didn't look that far into it, but might have been.
She wrote it, but yeah, The Cookies.
Yeah.
What a great name, The Cookies.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm hungry. I'm hungry now. Anyhow, so next, number 8, I have You Really Got a Hold on Me, which is a Motown classic, of course, written by the Miracles, but written by Smokey Robinson. I think they do a good job on that one. Number 7, I got Act Naturally, which was a Ringo song, originally by Buck Owens. And then number 6, one more, I have Rock and Roll Music, which was a Chuck Berry song.
Yeah.
All right, I got some similar ones there. Adam, what do you got for your 10 through 6?
Well, my number 10 it's one of the songs from Beatles to Sail, and it's Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, which ends that album. My number 9 is Words of Love, which is also from Beatles to Sail. My number 8 is from Elvis, Act Naturally. And my number 7 is Please Mr. Postman from With the Beatles. And my number 6 is a song from Please Please Me, being Baby It's You.
Baby It's You, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I got some similar ones there. Number 10, I got Act Naturally, the Ringo classic from Buck Owens. Number 9, I got Devil in Her Heart. I don't think anybody mentioned that one.
No.
I don't remember who originally did it. I know George sings it on the album, one of the early ones.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't remember if that's Please Please Me or With the Beatles, one of those two. 8, I got Money, That's What I Want, which I think Brian mentioned.
Yeah.
Off of with the Beatles. Yeah. Number 7, I got Rock and Roll Music. I think off Beatles for Sale. 6, I got Till There Was You. I don't think I mentioned that. That's off of a musical called The Music Man that Paul does, which is interesting. You don't usually take songs from musicals and cover them and make them to a pop hit, but I really like that. I've heard some people really don't like that song. I really like that song. I'm maybe one of the few that I think it's off with the Beatles also, and it's one of my favorites off that album. In fact, I've said it before, and people are like, "Oh, that's one of the worst." I'm like, no, that's one of my favorite off the album. But anyways, yeah. So that's my 10 through 6. Let's see, Nick. I might do a video doing a top 10 best CCR cover songs.
That'd be interesting.
Cool.
Which is interesting. I don't know. I didn't know if they've done that many. I guess I know they've done some big ones.
Maybe they've only done 10.
Because they've only because they did 5 or was it?
Yeah.
Or did they do
7 albums? Yeah. 7 albums. Yeah.
But they did them in 3 years or something crazy like that. I don't know.
They did release 3 albums in '69 alone.
Yeah, 3 albums in 1 year. So that's interesting. It might have some cover songs there.
I think there's more. I mean, Midnight Special's one. Yeah, and there's probably some other songs, but yeah,
there might be look back at it. But
there's probably more.
Oh, one of my favorite songs actually is a cover song. What's it called? It's like 11-minute song.
Heard It Through the Grapevine.
Heard It Through the Grapevine. Yeah, I really like that song.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
See, I always hated everybody's trying to be my baby. I respect your opinion though.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty enjoyable one.
Yeah, I have to admit that's kind of at the bottom of my list as well. I was kind of surprised when he said it. I was like, oh, okay.
I just like the way George sings it.
Yeah, it's more of a fun song, I guess. Is that the one where he's like, play it for me? Or is that's probably something else?
That's Honey Don't, I think.
I know they have a little bit of fun back and forth between George and Ringo on some of those. It's a bit cheesy for my taste, but I can see why you like it. Till There's You, yeah, yeah. It's pretty cheesy. It's a love song. I heard birds in the air or something like that. I didn't know they were singing until there was. Yeah, it's cheesy, but I like it. Paul's great. Paul's vocals amazing. George's solo, love his solo on it. Anyways, yeah. So now we go to our number 5 favorite Beatles cover song, Bryer.
All right. So for my number 5, I'm gonna go with one from Please Please Me, and I'm gonna go with Boys, another Ringo classic. Yes,
my least favorite song on that album.
Yeah, and I get it. I get it. It's Ringo singing. It's kind of weird having Ringo sing about boys.
Boys,
it was originally sung by the Shirelles, so it was a girl group, which we mentioned previously. But for me, I kind of like how Ringo kind of committed to it. Like he doesn't feel awkward about it. He just fully into it.
He just goes for it.
Yeah, really
and I respect. Yeah, and I respect that. Like he's just so committed to it. Like, yeah, boys are awesome, man. I just like his vocal on it, and his drumming's very pretty cool as well. And Ringo still pretty much performs it to this day.
He still performs it.
Yeah, he still does it, so he's not embarrassed by it at all. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've always liked this song growing up. It's one of the songs I played a lot when I was listening to the Beatles, and I don't know, maybe because I'm biased for Ringo's, but besides that, yeah, that's my number 5.
Cool.
Yeah, it sounds very progressive for its time.
Yeah.
Without meaning to be.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think, Adam?
My number 5 is also from Please Please Me, but it's not Boys.
It's not Boys.
It's I'm gonna go to him. and they go to him. And it
Oh,
originally
yes.
Oh,
sung
okay. Oh,
by-
yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
It was originally sung and written by Arthur Alexander, even though I've not heard the original version of this. But yeah, I think John sings it really great, and yeah, I think it's one of the better cover songs on the Please Please Me album. That really like the melody to it as well, and
yeah.
the harmonies and backing vocals. Yeah, it's just a really great cover in my opinion.
Yeah, one of the lesser known covers, I think, too. That's what it's almost like a hidden gem off that album to me.
I think it's the first track they covered from Please Please Me. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's towards the beginning of that album. Yeah.
Yeah.
After standing there, saw you standing there.
And Misery.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Misery is
Misery, the one. Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that one. That's definitely on my list. I love that song. Number 5 for me is Words of Love, which I think maybe Adam mentioned. I think someone mentioned that.
Yeah, it was my number 9.
Number 9. Yeah, I have number 5. I feel like this is another underrated cover song. I don't think this is one people usually go to. Or this is not one that you hear. I don't think they never played this live, I'm pretty sure. And I've never, in all the Beatle tribute concerts I've been to, no one ever sings this. It's not a cover song that you think of. It's a kind of somewhat, it's a Buddy Holly song, of course. Buddy Holly sang. And I think it was maybe a minor hit for Buddy Holly. Because I remember when I covered the song on my Beatles ranking, I researched this. And it's not like, That'll Be the Day or Peggy Sue or Don't Fade Away, some of my favorite Buddy Holly songs. But still, it's a really, I think, a good song. And the Buddy Holly version is also, I think, very good. In fact, I would say this is very similar to the Buddy Holly version. This is one of the few, and this is off the Beatles for Sale album, which, in my opinion, the Beatles for Sale album, the cover songs are like the worst cover songs of all the albums they do. Like, I think Please Please Me and With the Beatles have much better cover songs. But I feel like Beatles for Sale, they just kind of threw it together at last minute almost, like, because they were just coming off of Hard Day's Night and doing the Hard Day's Night movie, and they were doing a lot of touring. So they didn't really have a lot of time in the studio, I think. And so that's why they have covers, because Hard Day's Night was all originals. And so it's weird that they went back to doing cover songs after doing Hard Day's Night, which was so great, all Lennon McCartney songs. And that was just one of those things where they were like, had a deadline. Like, you have to put, 2 albums a year out. And so they pushed them to push Beatles for Sale out. So they just threw in a bunch of cover songs that they knew pretty well, because they did a lot of cover songs, on the road, in the different clubs and stuff. And so they brought out Words of Love, and I feel like they didn't really change it a whole lot. But yeah, I love it still. It sounds great, I think. But yeah, it sounds very similar to the Buddy Holly, but it has a very great laid back feel to it. There's there's like this kind of, I don't know. I love the laid back feel of it. Good harmonies what makes it maybe a little different is that you got Paul and John singing together. So that's different than just Buddy Holly singing. But yeah, it's a nice melody to it. I think it's an underrated song, but I think it's really good. I wish they would cover more Buddy Holly. In fact, I was like, man, I would love to hear more. I would love to hear whole album just of Beatles covering Buddy Holly or something.
Yeah.
I think that would be like a really great album, because they're obviously a big influence on them.
When I first heard Words of Love, I was a bit disappointed they went with that song for Buddy Holly. They couldn't. Yeah. I still think it's a really great one, though. The more I listen to it, the more I like it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they picked that one instead of one of the bigger known ones. I don't know why they went with that one, but I don't know. I'm such a big Buddy Holly fan, so I'm just like glad they did a Buddy Holly song. Like I said, I'd love to hear more from them. My dad has to say here, I forgot about Till There Was You. In The Music Man, this is the pivotal song which the music man goes from being a jerk to being an honest, good man. Yeah. He sings it to Marion the librarian towards the end of the movie. Just them two. It definitely sounds way different than the Beatles version. Because the guy who played the main character, Robert Preston, was not like a really great singer or anything. He was okay. He just kind of barely carried the melody, but it's more like it's more theatrical, I guess. Like I never heard the birds there. I don't know, just the way he does it. It's just not smooth like Paul's voice. But so if you hear the Music Man version, you'd be like, how did they get a hit out of this one? But they did. They figured it out, which I absolutely love. Nick says, it reminds me when the Hollies did in the Holly style, where a little more than half the songs were originals. The following album only doing 5 out of 12 tracks originals. Yeah. Which is always disappointing because I always assumed every band just wrote their own songs. And so anytime I delve into somebody and I hear cover songs, I'm like disappointed. I'm like, oh, like why? Even the Byrds, like the Byrds did great cover songs, maybe the best cover song band of all time. But I loved when they did originals as well. When the Byrds, and you'll talk about this on Turn, because there's a lot of cover songs I believe on that as well.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah, there's a good amount.
I mean, Turn.
Turn. Yeah, but I think the second one there's a little bit less, but there's still quite a bit of covers on it.
I think they do Times Have Changed, whatever
they did. Yeah, Times They Are Changing. Yeah.
Times They Are Changing. I think they do, and I think they do another maybe Bob Dylan off that one.
Yeah, they did. I think it was Laid Down You Weary Tune.
Okay.
That was like an unreleased Bob Dylan song.
Yeah, but there's a couple originals, especially by Gene Clark. I always like Gene Clark, but there's a couple originals I think by him that I like on that album. Anyways, just to say, I always like it when they do originals on albums. I'm always like, I always feel like, okay, that's the real you, you know, in some senses. I know I'm repeating myself, but just going off what he said. My dad says, I just wanted you all to know there's some context to the song. Yeah, thanks, Dad. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. All right, so that was number 5 for all of us, I believe. So now we're number 4. Bryer?
Number 4.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad your dad gave us the contest because my number 4 is Till There Was You.
Oh, here I've been talking about it. You're top 5.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It's good. It's actually good. I got the context because when I first heard it, I didn't get any hint that this was originally from a musical. I did a little bit of research, but I didn't know it was originally from a musical. But yeah, and of course, Jason mentioned that this is actually, people say this is one of the worst songs, and I was like, I like this one. I think it's really good. I like the guitar. I like the acoustic guitar on it. I think it really suits the song well, and Paul's vocals on it's really good as well. I mean, someone said it was cheesy, but I don't know. Nick said that, but I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty known for liking a good amount of cheese, so maybe that's why I like it so much. But yeah, I think it's an underrated song. If it is hated, then I think it's a bit overhated. So yeah, that'll be my number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like my dad said, is a turning point in the movie where he's a super jerk who's conning this whole town in Iowa, and then he kind of turns over and decides that he shouldn't do that. He shouldn't be conning them, and he falls in love with Marion, the librarian, and that's a song where he's telling her why he loves. You know, it's a love song of the movie, basically. Maybe the only love song I think in the movie. Him expressing his love for this girl he just met. You know, as you do in movies. Anyways, but yeah, it's a good song. It's not one of the most well-known songs of the musical, though. I mean, because you have Trouble, that's capital T, or you know, that whole song, and Marion Librarian, that's a good song as well, and the something about the trombones is something trombones in the big parade. Anyway, so there's some big numbers. That's not the biggest number, but it is the one love song. So that's why the Beatles probably did it.
And of course, Paul sang it, so it makes more sense.
Yeah, and Paul loves cheese, I think, as well.
Yeah, so. Paul loves his love songs.
He loves his love songs. So yeah, that's maybe more information than anybody need to know, but I'm just putting it out there. All right, good. Adam, what's your number 4?
Well, before I get to it, I've got a question.
Yeah,
and it's to do with the first 5 Hollies albums, because I'm going to be listening to them soon. But I want to know how many of those songs are original, how many it covers? Would you say most of those songs are covers?
From what I've heard, like the debut, that's like 98% of its covers.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
The second one had covers, but they're definitely a lot better. And as they progress, it's kind of similar to the Beatles. As they progress, they kind of lose the covers over time. But yeah, I think the albums get better as they go along.
Yeah, they're doing more experimental and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Well, I think not a lot, but a little.
Well, my number 4 is a song from with the Beatles, and it's "You Really Got a Hold on Me."
Okay, yeah.
And it was originally written by Smokey Robinson and sung by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. And I know Glenn Calloway from the Basement ranks this song quite high as favorite Beatles songs, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's a really great song. I think the way they really did it, the way they do it, is really good. And I think it's a very melodic and quite melancholic song to begin with, and I think they really made it their own. But yeah, I think it's one of the highlights of the second side, or with the Beatles, I'd say. So yeah, that's my number 4.
Yeah, it really missed the top 10. It was definitely one of those that was close, anyways. Yeah, I think it's a good cover of Smokey Robinson and all that. So yeah, it's a good pick. Number 4, I have Anna Go to Him, which Adam had.
Number 5.
Number 5, yeah. So I have a number 4. So yeah, yeah. So he said everything I was thinking of. Like, it's such a good song, and I feel like it's one of the songs that like I always kind of discover somehow. Every time I listen to the album, I go, oh yeah, this song. Like it's always a song I forget about, and I'm like, oh man, I love this song. Like I said, it's not a big one for them, I don't feel like. And it's Arthur Alexander, like you said, I think was the guy's name. And I think I when I did the research on the song, he like wrote it because he had like a girlfriend named Anna, and she had like an ex-boyfriend that was trying to like woo her away from him. And so it's kind of an autobiographical song of him singing to Anna, saying like he's willing to let her go, I guess, and say, if he loves you more than me, go to him. Anyways, and I think she ended up not going with him. She ended up staying with the singer or the songwriter, and I think they ended up getting married, if I remember right. And then they got divorced.
Oh.
And so it was like, man, it's a nice love song until they get divorced, and then it kind of ruins the whole love. It's a nice story until that point.
Right.
And then I'm like, maybe you should have gone with him.
Yeah.
Maybe he was right. Maybe Anna. Maybe you should have left him for the other guy. I don't know.
Well, either way, you've got a song written about you.
So, right? Yeah. Maybe that did it. Yeah.
Maybe.
You always have that song, but yeah, I love John's vocals on here, and it's such a great melody, like you said. And I just love how he starts with Anna. Like, I just love that. I don't know, just how he does that. And he belts it out a little bit here and there. I mean, not maybe belted, but I don't know. I always like John's vocals. He puts a lot, I think, passion into some of his vocals on some of these early songs that I really love. And I love and there's some background vocals as well that I love. But yeah, it's a really great song. Definitely like a hidden gem, underrated one off of with Please Please Me. The first, like I said, I think Please Please Me maybe is their best cover song album. With the Beatles is pretty good too. I think they have some good covers on there. I don't know. Nick said the Hollies. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe it's the next one. Okay.
Yeah.
The Hollies' 6th and 7th albums are the most psychedelic. Yeah.
Evolution and Butterfly.
Yeah. Nash was trying to push the band more psychedelic, I think, because that was the way the music was going. But the other band members were pretty stubborn, I think, and they're like, let's just stick with what works with the hits. And Nash was like, no, let's expand. And that's eventually why I think Nash left the group to go to Crosby, Stills and Nash. Their 5th album is their first with all originals. Okay, so and a great step up in what they would do.
Yeah, For Certain Because that album's called.
What's that?
That was the 5th album, For Certain Because.
for certain because.
Yes.
Okay, that's an interesting name.
Like for certain because ...
Dot, dot, dot. Yeah, the Hollies are interesting because they didn't write their songs all the time. I think there's a couple there that they wrote themselves. Like I know Nash wrote Carousel, which is one of my favorite of them, and he also wrote, I believe, Carrie Ann as well, which is some of my favorite Holly songs. But they actually took songs that other people wrote and then made it theirs. So it's original in the sense that no one else, I don't think, did it until they did it, but it wasn't there. They did a lot of songs that they didn't write, I guess, if that makes sense. He met a kid, like this guy was like pretty young, and they went to him and they said, hey, this kid like writes really good songs. And they're like, okay. So they go meet him. I can't remember his name, but they go meet him. They're like what, how this young kid write these songs? And so he plays them some of their songs, and they're like, these songs are brilliant. So they bought some of the songs off of this kid anyways, and I forget which ones they are, but some of their big hits they got this kid, and this kid also sold songs to other bands that made big hits.
Wow.
Like the Hermits, I know, took some of the songs, I think. And anyways, it's just, I always thought that was a fascinating story. Like just this young kid was just writing these
interesting
hits.
Yeah,
and
I'm jealous.
And everybody was making money off of these, hits.
You might have been writing all the Beatles songs all along.
Maybe. The secret revealed.
He'd be really busy doing all of that.
Well, McCartney didn't write anything. No, anyway, so that's just an interesting story. I always thought, because Holly's great. They didn't exactly write everything. They did write some good stuff, but they also kind of, which is common. That was pretty common. A lot of times you took songs from other people. I'm sure it's hard to write a good song. Lynn McCartney perfected it. Obviously, they knew how to just hit one hit after another. But not very many bands had that kind of songwriting where they just hit you with the number one hits all the time. They had to borrow from other people and make hits and stuff like that. Let's see. Holly's first 4 albums are great, but they don't get impressive until you get into For Certain.
Yeah.
Like you said. Yeah, I can see that. My dad's correcting me here. Yeah, 76 Trombones in the Big Parade. That's it. That was one of the big songs off of the Music Man. 76 Trombones in the Big Parade. Yeah. All right. Sorry, that's a lot of tangents there. But okay, I think I did mine. So now we're to number 3, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's keep the Anna train going, because my number 3 is Anna. Go with
no way.
Yeah.
No way.
5, 4, 3. Huh? Okay.
Yeah. There we go. So yeah, I don't have much else to add, because I think both of you have had summed it up pretty much. Like, yeah, John's vocal delivery on this one is just very catchy. This is one of those songs I still periodically will kind of hum to myself because of just how catchy that melody is.
Yeah.
And that rhythm Ringo does on it, just a great beat to it.
Yeah.
And even the guitars, if you hear closely, like all the guitars, I think that's what George and John are doing, and there's some great ear candy in there. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Yeah, isn't there's kind of like this dun 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 dun, like this upscale kind. It's almost like they're going up like the scale. I kind of like.
Yeah, that's great.
Never heard anybody say ear candy before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna use that now.
Yeah, there's eye candy, ear candy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's other kinds, but that's 2.
I think that's like the main 2.
I
never hear anybody say some hand candy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or nose candy.
Nose candy. Yeah. Well,
there might be, but you definitely don't want to eat those.
You don't want, yeah.
Well, my number 3 is Long Tall Sally.
Okay.
Which is a single by the Beatles. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was an A side or not. I think it was a B side.
Yeah, I think it was an A side. I think.
Yeah.
Right. But it came out in 1964, and it was originally written by Little Richard Robert Blackwell and Otis Johnson. And Little Richard sang this one, and I think this is the best version of Long Tall Sally. I think Paul does fantastic vocals here, and I think it was one of the first songs that John Lennon heard Paul McCartney do. Oh, it was one of the first songs that Paul did anyway.
Yeah.
I
Paul.
love it. Yeah.
I said Paul's doing the rock instead of John. Paul's doing the big rock number. Yeah.
It's actually in my top 100 Beatles songs, but it's my number 97 in there.
Okay.
But yeah, I love it. I think it's a fantastic cover. One that I like going to quite often.
Okay.
Good choice.
To be honest, I kind of forgot about that one because it's a single, not on the album.
Yeah, right.
I have trouble with singles sometimes because I'm like,
luckily there's I got my information from a Wikipedia page because they have a separate page going through all the songs the Beatles covered. Yeah.
I feel bad now because I've got a playlist with all the Beatles cover songs. I should have sent you that before the live stream.
I counted around 25 cover songs in total, I think is what I counted.
It was about an hour's worth of music.
What's that?
It was about an hour's worth of music.
Oh, an hour?
With all the cover songs put together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Long Tall Sally, I think also, like, Canada had, like, an album called Long Tall Sally or something like that. And it had some songs. It was Canadian, though. I don't know. I think you only got it in Canada, if I remember right. But yeah, it's an LP or something like that you got in Canada called Long Tall Sally, and it had Long Tall Sally. I don't know, or something like that. Besides that, yeah, you had to get it as a single. I'm not sure what the B-side was. That'd be interesting to see. I got Mike from Did You See That? Let's see if I can say this right.
What's Mike doing here?
Bryer? Jason? 3 legends in the house.
Yeah, I'm confused. What's Mike doing here?
You missed an O, Jason.
What?
Oh, you missed an O, yeah.
You missed an O.
I missed what?
You missed one of the O's.
Yeah.
The O's.
Yeah. That was my best interpretation of that that comment. I was having Mike saying.
Yeah, Mike in the Beatles stream. What's happening here?
Oh, Mike, yeah. Right. Mike just...
He probably doesn't know it's a Beatles stream.
No, he'd get out of there as soon as he could.
Yeah.
You want to come on, Mike, and talk about your favorite Beatles songs?
Yeah, come on.
You're down one person now.
I'm lonely down here.
What am I doing here? I can drop by and at least hello. Yeah, no, Mike, we're just saying this is a Beatles stream, so we're kind of surprised.
Yeah.
It's probably all over your head. Like, okay, yeah, you're just talking about Long Tall Sally. Yeah. All right, so it's my number 3. And it is Baby It's You, which I believe somebody else.
Yeah, it was my number 6.
Number 6, yeah. So it really, it's in the top 10. Yeah, Baby It's You. Man, I absolutely love the song off of Please Please Me. Another, did you say who did the original? Do you know? I forget. It's a girl group.
Is it the Shirelles?
I'm going to assume that.
Yeah, it's one of the big girl groups I know. It was a big hit for the original was a big hit as well. A more of a Motown kind of song. And I don't know, I really love the version of it. A lot of people say the original's better than this, and I think that's because, like I said, and the original is good. And I get that. Like, I think a lot of times if you go original cover, sometimes you go to the original because, well, that's the original, so they put more emphasis on the original maybe over the cover. But I'm like one of the few people that say actually kind of really like this version is maybe more than the original, but they're both good. I can't say they're both about the same, but I just love John's vocals on this song. I think he actually nails it. And like I said, I love about John is he knows how to belt it out really well in some of these songs. Like, I mean, he keeps it pretty soft, in the verses at least. And then he goes, nobody but, and then they kind of stop. baby, it's you. Like, I love that, how he kind of belts that out and then goes back to soft. So it's a great crescendos and decrescendos there. I absolutely love. And I love the sha la 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 la's, sha la 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 la. Like, I absolutely love it.
Pretty good.
And the backing vocals of that. So I think Paul and George do great on the backing vocals, and John just absolutely nails it vocally, I think. And yeah, absolutely love the song. Baby, It's You, number 3 on my list. See what Mike has some things to say here. Don't you worry, guys. I'd love to support Jason, but the Beatles song chat, I'm out.
Yep.
However, I do love hearing all of your passions for the Beatles or even cover songs. I do have a question. All right.
Yeah.
If all Beatles were alive and could do another album, how good do you think it would be?
That's the age-old question.
So you're saying they're all in their 80s now. They're all alive, basically. Maybe George, I don't know if he'd be still in the 70s, but I think they'd all be in their 80s probably by now.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think even George would probably get into his 80s by now. So they'd definitely be older. I don't know if they would sound as good.
But it would sell a ton.
It would sell a ton. It would.
And it could be them covering Buddy Holly songs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could be doing nursery rhymes and it would just kill.
Yeah, they do a kids album even.
Yeah, and the market would just explode. Yeah.
The Beatles kids.
It would just be the grandchildren.
And be like, hey, we haven't done anything in 50 years. We're going to do this. I don't know, whatever. And people explode.
Yeah. People will lose their minds.
Yeah.
They would lose their minds. Yeah, I don't know how good the album would be. That's a good question. I mean, Paul McCartney still, his voice definitely has deteriorated, but yet he makes it work, I think.
Yeah. Like, I haven't, I've heard Egypt Station. That's the latest one I've heard. I haven't heard his
McCartney 3.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet, but I've heard snippets of it, and I think he still sounds okay.
Yeah, he still can do it. And I saw him concert back in 2017. And he still was killing it, and he was like 75 years old. And I was like, holy cow, this guy! 3-hour concert, never sits. I mean, he sits down when he plays the piano, I guess, but I mean, he never takes a break. 3 hours straight, no break. 75 years old, just kills it. But yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, what would be with George and Ringo? I don't know if he still does concerts, so he's still.
Yeah, I think his voice pretty much sounds the same.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't age at all.
Ringo's Ringo.
What's that?
Ringo's Ringo.
Yeah. And he looks pretty good for 80, whatever he is.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him. But yeah. I think I'd say this, man. I wish if John wasn't murdered in 1980, like I really think they would have done like something together in the 80s. I don't know. And that would have that would have been a dream come true, just to have them do something together. Of course, none of us. I mean, I wasn't born until '83, but you guys weren't alive yet. So it'd been nice if they were all together while we're all alive and we could see them in concert or something like that. Oh, that'd be a dream come true.
Yeah.
Because if I can go on a little tangent here, because the Beatles, when they did their concerts in '63 through '66 or whatever, when they stopped, their concerts weren't really that good. The sound system wasn't that good back then, like it is today.
Right.
For one thing. 2, the girls were screaming, so you couldn't hear them anyways. And their concerts were only like 45 minutes long, I want to say, to an hour maybe.
Yeah.
Like they didn't do long concerts. They did like these 45-hour songs. And even into their last concert, if I remember right, they were still doing like their early Beatle hits. They weren't really plugging in their like newest hits all the time. Or, even they did Revolver and they were still out there. I think their last, touring, the Revolver was coming out, and they did do, I think, if I remember right, I don't know if they did any Revolver songs. They did do some Rubber Soul songs like Nowhere Man. They did do Paperback Writer, I know, in concert.
In My Life as well.
What's that?
They did In My Life as well.
They did? Okay.
I think it was the last song they performed, Until the Rooftop.
Okay. Yeah, and then Until the Rooftop, yeah. Um, yeah, so they did a couple of those, but they didn't do a lot from that era. They still went to their earlier songs, if I remember right. And so I don't know. It's funny. Like the question always is, what band would you love to see live? And the answer has to be the Beatles, just because you want to say I was there, I saw. That'd be just price. Priceless, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
Just to say I saw the Beatles, and I couldn't hear them, but I saw them. And they were moving around, and and the crowd is energetic and stuff like that. So it'd been a cool atmosphere. But I don't know, the concerts probably weren't that good. So again, like I said, I wish, and when they got into their later, they just did just pure studio stuff. Their studio stuff you couldn't play live at the time. I don't think it'd be too difficult because they did too much. But now you could. The technology is caught up. At some point, technology caught up to where you can do some of those more difficult songs live.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, like I said, if they got together and did like a reunion tour in like the '80s, that would have been the best concert tour ever. Like, because I think they would have, the technology, the sound systems would have been much better, and maybe could hear them better. I guess people would still be screaming, but I don't think it would ruin it as much. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if the Beatles did reunite, I mean, that'll probably be the biggest thing to ever happen in music. I mean, imagine if they were at Live Aid.
Yeah, Live Aid. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been amazing.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. Yeah, Live Aid, like Queen and then the Beatles or something. I don't know. That'd been I would kill.
I mean, if the Beatles were there, I mean, who knows? Maybe the Beatles would have stolen the show instead of Queen.
Yeah. Oh, very true. Who knows? That's always I always dream about that. Like, man, what if the Beatles were all? What if John didn't die in 1980? What could have happened? What could have collaborations could we have gotten? It's like, man, I'm so sad that we missed out on so much good music. With that happening, and such a senseless, murder that didn't need to happen. Obviously. But yeah, good question. I mean, it's always fun to, as a Beatles fan, I think you have to think about that. Like, what if the Beatles were still alive or all four of them were still alive and they were together? That would have been. I mean, I geeked out in 1995 when they came out with "Free as a Bird," like, because I remember I watched that for the first time on TV, them premiering "Free as a Bird," and that was amazing. Like, I remember being like, oh my gosh, we're getting another Beatles song, 25 years after they broke up, we're getting another Beatles song. It felt like, even though John was dead, it felt like it was the Beatles together again in a sense, And that was amazing on itself, I would say, in my opinion. Let's see. Nick says, I prefer the Smiths version of Baby It's You. Okay.
Did you know they did a cover of it?
I don't know who the Smiths are, to be honest, and
I only have one
of my dad's favorite bands.
It's your dad's?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's one of my dad's favorite bands.
I only have one album by them.
Okay. They're a British band.
They're a British band. I'm gonna be honest, it didn't do much for me, sadly.
Yeah, I hear people talk about the Smiths, but I'm like, I don't know.
Of course, the lead singer Morrissey's kind of not one of the most friendly person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's see. We got. We've had my dad. We have Adam's dad. Bryer, is your dad?
No, sadly, he's not here.
He's not. Okay.
No. Not to get too personal, he passed away.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean
he passed away.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, don't worry.
I didn't know.
Don't worry about it. It's a whole can of worms about my dad. So
no, yeah, I don't want to open that.
That's fine.
I was trying to make a joke, but
that's fine.
It totally blew up in my face.
Yeah, don't worry, you're good.
All right, hey guys, if John was still alive, would he be bigger star now than Paul?
That's interesting because I think they're kind of even.
Gosh,
even, I'd say.
Yeah, that'd be possible.
Yeah, Paul released more albums, I think, in the 70s, but John still, when he released an album, those albums did really well.
Yeah, I'm always from what I've read both biographies. I have them back here. So from my sense that I mean John started out super strong. I think he started out maybe even better than Paul with Plastic Ono Band and Imagine. I think there's two, to me that's my favorite two albums from him. So he started with a bang. Uh, and then he was doing some albums here and there. Then there was a period where he kind of didn't do anything because his youngest son was born, Sean, and so he kind of was a stay-at-home dad kind of for a little while, from what I remember.
Yeah.
And and of course he went through this huge, drug partying phase,
Right.
and but eventually kind of like settled down towards the late 70s, I think. And like held back on all the drugs and partying. I think with Sean, and he really tried hard. I think being a good dad.
Yeah, he did.
He wasn't really there for Julian, unfortunately, but I think he tried to be a good dad to Sean, anyways. And for my sense, then at that period, Paul just took off. To me, I mean, obviously, McCartney, I think I like McCartney. I think that's a good album. It definitely was like a very raw album. Like it was just him by himself, basically.
Yeah.
Then Ram was like his first, like kind of major first album, I would say.
Yeah, but that album took a while to people to start appreciating, because that album didn't do well.
Really?
Critics hated it when Ram came out at first, but now it's considered a classic now.
I say now it's beloved. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Okay. Yeah, so I feel like his first couple albums weren't that great, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Until he got to Band on the Run, and then Band on the Run was a huge hit album. And then I don't know about Venus and Mars came, I think, after that. I don't know if that did well. I don't know. On top of my head. But I think he definitely took off in a really good direction and did really well at that point. And I feel like he was just more prolific than John was at that time. And in fact, from what I've read, it feels like it inspired John to get back into music.
Yeah, it was actually the song. Yeah, it was the song Coming Up Paul released.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that was the song. That was the song that John heard on the radio, and he was like, "Hey, that's Paul."
Yeah, so I feel like that kind of inspired John to get back into songwriting and singing, whatever. And then they worked on Double Fantasy in '79, I guess, or whatever. And then he got shot in 1980. So, and then the album came out after he died, I believe, and did, of course, really great. I think it sold really well. It won Album of the Year at the Grammys, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe John would have been, so John was starting. It's funny because it's like, man, I say funny, it's terrible. He's just now getting back into music, and then he gets killed, and it's like, so yeah, John might have been on an upward swing there maybe in the 1980s, and Paul was still putting out good work, I think, in the 1980s, I would say.
Yeah, about the early 80s he was still doing pretty good.
Yeah, he maybe tapered off in the late 80s, I would say. Yeah. So I love his 90s work with Flaming Pie is one of my favorite albums. So I feel like he made a comeback with that and Chaos, in my opinion. That's just, I don't know if that's true or not, but for me, Flaming Pie, Chaos and Creation, I love those albums. So I thought he made kind of a comeback in the late 90s into the 2000s. Anyways, so yeah, it'd be interesting what John would have done. I'm sure he would have kept making music, and he would have. I mean, he would have made some good music. I'm sure he would have kept making great music.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're both pretty I mean, they're both pretty, like I said, pretty even for me. I put Paul ahead of John just because Paul lived longer and was more prolific of a
songwriter. Yeah.
Songwriter. So but I think there's probably fans that are like, there's always people that are bigger John fans, I think, and some are Paul fans. So I'm more in the Paul McCartney group personally.
Yeah, same here.
Is there an in-between group?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's the answer would be, they're both kind of tied for the top spot. No offense to George or Ringo, they just didn't write as many music or hits. It's hard to compete with Lennon. McCartney was just the greatest of all time. So, as far as songwriters and
I lost track of what we're actually talking about.
Or yeah, it was. Okay.
Mike said the Smiths are also terrible.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, at least I can agree with Mike with that one. Well, I don't think they're terrible. They just, I don't know. Music just didn't speak to me.
Yeah, I could tell you a Smith song. I mean,
Which album of theirs did you listen to?
The Queen is Dead.
Yeah, that's probably their biggest album.
Yeah.
okay, that's the biggest one. You're like,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah. I still have it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll re-listen to it sometime. But yeah, as of now, it's kind of like it's fine.
So Nick is asking Mike, what does he listen to? Mike says country, anime music, pop, some rock, metal. That's metal.
Anime music. Now we're talking.
Yeah, yeah, it's rock music.
And
there.
not being sarcastic too.
No, you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the only guy I know that listens to like Japanese music.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike likes anime a lot. So Mike hates the Smiths. Next, he was saying Back to the Future is a great film. Morrissey is a god.
Okay, I wouldn't put Morrissey that high. His ego's already big. His ego's already big enough.
He goes over big enough. All right. I think we're to number 2.
Yeah, it's my turn, I think. Yeah.
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 I
So,
can't
but yeah, it's still talking about Beatles covers. So my number 2, yeah. So yeah, my number 2 is actually one that Adam mentioned, and I agree. It's going to be Long Tall Sally.
Oh, really? Long Tall Sally?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I actually never heard the cover until we started planning this.
Really?
It was just it was just in that Wikipedia page that I read with all the covers, and I was like, I haven't heard that one, so I listened to it. And I'm like, oh my god, this is a great like Paul's on lead vocals and he's nailing it. Like he's doing all the things Little Richard does, all the screaming that Little Richard's known for. Like Paul nails them, and the rest of the band is just kicking it as well. Like it's a great rocking song. So yeah, I don't have much else to add, but if you haven't heard that cover, because I think we kind of already mentioned that it wasn't on an album, it was kind of like a single type of thing. It was either a single or an EP thing, but
yeah, and it wasn't a number 1 single or anything.
Yeah, I think so. But I think it's a hidden gem in here. So yeah, number 2, Long Tall Sally.
Yeah, you have to go to match. I mean, you have to go to past Masters.
Yeah, it's on Past Masters. Yeah, that's right.
Volume 1.
Volume 1. Yeah, if you want to hear the song, so that's a hard part. Is you have to go to that to get to it, but that's where you have to go pretty much to listen to it. Yeah. So Mike agrees or likes you, Bryer. Bryer's a little because of anime.
I can see a live stream happening here.
You and Mike do the anime live stream.
Yeah, but then again, our taste might be very different.
I don't know.
We'll get to my number 2 then.
Number 2, Adam.
It's from the Beatles album, and it's one that I think you both mentioned earlier. And it's Till There Was You.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Mm-hmm. It was originally written by Meredith Willson for the 1957 musical titled The Musical Man. I think is that what it's called?
The Music Man, yeah.
The Music Man. And yeah, when I first heard it, I thought it was a really beautiful song, and I didn't realize it was a cover until about to do the research about a couple of years ago. I found that out, and yeah, I absolutely love it. I think Paul does a fantastic job, and I love George Harrison's acoustic guitar playing here. Just like Long Tall Sally, this is also in the top 100 Beatles songs, but it's by 96.
Okay,
just slightly ahead of Long Tall Sally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love that one. I don't really get the hate for it, being honest.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I say that because there's a channel called Reactions to the Classics.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was a while ago, a couple of years ago. They went through every single Beatles album and they played it on not on YouTube, but on another channel, I forget. Was
it Was it Vimeo?
No, not Vimeo.
Daily
There's
Motion.
What's that?
Daily Motion.
No, there's another app where people do a lot of gaming on it, I think.
Oh, Twitch.
Twitch, yes, Twitch. They had a Twitch. I don't think they do Twitch anymore. That they went to Twitch just because their live streams kept getting blocked because of copyrights. Because they play music on their channel. Because you request music and they play it basically, or you pay some money and they'll play music, whatever. And so they always get shut down, like an hour into the stream. And so they went to Twitch because you don't get shut down, I guess. And so they were doing Twitch, and they went through every single Beatles album on there, and they also ranked the songs of every single album, the father son, Sean and Trey Holmes. And I remember we were doing that, with the Beatles, and I had Till There Was You pretty high up on my list, and they had it real low on their list. And I remember they're like, and I was like disappointed. I was like, man, you have this, song so low on your list. It's one of the best songs on the album. And I remember Sean saying something like, oh, I think most people would agree with us that it's one of the worst on there. And I'm like, really? Like, okay. Like, now I got two other people here that agree with me. So, I don't know, Sean. Like, I think it's more popular than you think. I don't know.
Still, that was you. Yeah.
I don't know, but I always get frustrated when it's like, oh, everybody believes that's the worst. I'm like, no, they don't. I know some people that disagree with that.
It's not black and white.
All right, so my number 2. I don't know if anybody's mentioned this one, but it's Please Mr. Postman.
I think I had it in my top 10 somewhere.
In your top 10.
Yeah.
This is number 2. I absolutely love this song. My dad mentioned it. It's only 2 cover songs he likes. And so when he said that, I was like, well, those are 2 good cover songs. Please Mr. Postman, coming off of With the Beatles, I believe, album. My favorite off of there, basically. And it's another cover of a girls group. I can't remember what girls group, I believe, first did it. But it was a hit before the Beatles, probably in the early 60s, maybe even, if I remember right. And it's another one like Baby It's You, where they just totally nailed the harmonies and the backing vocals and everything. And John's vocals, I just have to love the, oh yeah, like when he does that. And please, Mr. and the background, please, Mr. Postman, bum, bum, bum. Is there a letter? Like, I love John's with the two backing vocals. That was amazing. It's such a, and again, John, he really kind of belts it out at points, and it's just a really fast-paced, kind of catchy song for the time. Yeah, it's one of my favorite to listen to. One of my favorite Beatles songs, in fact. Like, it's one of those where it's pretty high up on my Beatles list. Like I said, most cover songs are probably pretty low when I rank the Beatles. But there's some like Anna Go to Him, Baby It's You, Mr. Postman, that are some of my favorite of the Beatles, in fact. I put up there with some of the originals even anyway. So, yeah, so Please Mr. Postman, number 2 for me. Nick, I have to say some of the originals on With the Beatles songs are worse than Till There Was You. Okay. Where's he going with this? Okay. Worse than Till There's You. Yeah. It's not a bad song. I'm just not crazy about it. Then there are other early songs before Rubber Soul. Yeah. Like I said, some people I don't think like the song as much as we do. All 3 of us like it, though.
Love it.
I had it at number 6. It barely missed my top 5. You guys had it in your top 5, so I'm like, okay. I thought I was the lone one that's going to say. I was like apologizing for liking the song, and then I realized you guys had higher, so I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
It should be me apologizing.
I was speaking to the choir. I didn't realize, but yeah. All right, so now we're up to our number 1 favorite cover song. I'd be interested if we have a similar one here at number 1, because none of us have mentioned it. So, you, Bryer?
Yep, I'm not going to be. Yeah, I'm going to be with the group here, with the majority of people. Yeah, number 1, it's got to be Twist and Shout. It's got to be, because I mean, it's probably the most iconic cover ever. Like, and this is one of those examples where their version just outshines the original by a long shot. Like, I mean, John's vocals on it is just legendary. Like, especially his scream at the very end. It's just so iconic, and it makes sense that was the last song they recorded for that album. So, Yeah, it's you still hear this one in like movies and commercials. I mean, it was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, so
Yeah.
it had a little
I
resurgence
really watched
even
that film.
with yeah, so it had a little resurgence because of that. But yeah, it's gotta be number one. So that's my pick.
I
Wow.
guarantee if you go to a wedding today, they'll play that song at the dance. They play at
Mm.
every dance. Anytime I'm at some place where they have a dance, the song's played.
Yeah,
Have you listened to the original version as well, Brian?
I did, and yeah,
Okay.
it's very different. It's very different.
It's more horns in the original.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, the Beatles, I think, did it way better.
All right, Adam, do you have are you gonna hit us with a twist or what do you got?
A twist
I've
and
actually
shout.
got a different number one. I've
Oh,
got
okay.
Yesterday, which was originally written by Glenn Gray.
Oh,
Glenn Gray.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I didn't know that.
There's Twist and Shout, yeah.
There we
Twist
go.
and
Charlie.
Shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's, of course, and Please Please Me. The song that finishes the album. And they recorded all the Please Please Me album in one day. I think John's vocals before this were a bit tired. I think he was
Yep.
getting tired before this song even before he had to sing the song, and
Yeah.
he just did it all in one take. And yeah, it's
He did.
fantastic. They really made it their own, and I love everything about the song. The harmonies, the backing vocals as well. The drumming from Ringo, I think it's some of the best drumming he did.
Mm.
And actually on Spotify, it's one of those streamed Beatles songs. It's got over 370 million streams.
Mhm.
It's one of the more popular Beatles
Yeah.
songs. And I think that's why a lot of people think that they originally sang it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
figure they originally did it.
Yeah. But yeah, there's nothing else that could be number one for this. And it's my 75th favourite Beatles song. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was ready
I
for
sh-
you.
yeah.
Sorry,
I was
Paul.
I forgot to mention it was originally by the Top Notes. That was the original band.
The top notes. Okay.
Yeah.
And originally written by Burt Burns and Phil Medley.
There we go.
Yeah, it's more of an R&B, I would say,
Yeah.
Motown style,
Yeah,
right?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
More R&B.
Yeah. They still had the but it wasn't quite as much as the Beatles, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Or they didn't
yeah,
do
the
as
Beatles had. Yeah, the Beatles was more pronounced. They made it was more noticeable
Yeah,
and more epic.
yeah, they really pushed it, I think, to another level.
Mhm.
I thought I was expecting Adam to say something like Mr. Moonlight or something, just throw us off on number one. And I'd be like,
That'll be last. Yeah.
yeah, number one is Twist and Shout. Yeah, it's the obvious number one. All three of us have it. I was wondering if we all three have it, and we do. And Nick already said it's one of the best ones. My dad said Twist and Shout and Please Mr. Postman are the only two he likes. That was my top two. So we're me and my dad are in sync. Those are the two best ones. But yeah, Twist and Shout, like you said, just amazing rock song to close the album. Great closer, maybe one of the best closers of any Beatles album. And yeah, John, they did it like all in one day or something. I forget. They did the whole.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
his voice is like, tired. And so but man, he still kills it on this. And maybe it even helps that he's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He just put everything he had into this vocal work on this song, and he couldn't sing anymore. I think after he did that take,
Yeah.
he was like,
Right. That's it. We're done.
We're done. We're done for the day. I can't
His
sing.
voice. He hurt his voice after that.
I bet.
Yeah,
That's
no
scream.
voice. Which I don't know if it would sound different if it was the first song they sang rather than last song. I don't know, but he sounds great. His vocal work. And this is one of the funnest songs. If you go see, I know Adam, I don't know if Bryer does, but I know Adam's seen some Beatles tribute bands,
They tend to end with this one.
They always play this one. It's a crowd favorite.
Popular ones.
And it's one of the best songs to hear. I don't know if you've heard this live, Bryer, or not.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
No.
this is one of the best songs to hear live. It's just I don't know. I think a lot of it's just the screams. The screams are so great. As John's scream is amazing. Yeah. And I love the crescendo of the like they just kick up a notch each time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just screaming, and they shake their heads. And of course, the girls are just going crazy because they love the hair shakes, you know. And it's so fun to watch this. There's a good version of them doing it for the Queen back in the '60s. The Queen, who's now no longer with us, but who's much younger back then. It's a great version, but there's so many great versions of them singing the song.
Yeah.
I would say it's just as fun to watch as it is to listen to. Them do a song. Yeah, it's an amazing rock song. Like I said, it's basically a Beatles song at this point, but they didn't write it. But
do any of us have any honorable mentions? I've only got one honorable mention, being Money.
Money.
That's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my top 10. Please, Mr. Postman. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody had that. Oh, I love that song. Nobody had it.
Yeah. I think it just barely missed my top 10.
At number 7.
Number 7. Okay, so yeah. As far as like Chains, I like Chains. Chains is not a bad song.
Yeah, I throw Chains in there.
Roll Over Beethoven's okay. Barry version. I like George.
That's another good one.
I like George's guitar on there. You Really Got a Hold on Me, like I said, barely missed out on my top 10. I like that song. That might be it. Most of the other ones, that's about all the ones I like. All the other cover songs I kind of don't like.
What are your least favorites?
Yeah, that was one of the questions we were going to ask if we would talk about.
Yeah.
What is our least favorite cover song? What do you think, Bryer?
There could be many. I think I'll go Mr. Moonlight. That's kind of the one I'm like.
That's the one, yeah.
And also,
yeah,
isn't Maggie May a cover song?
Yeah.
It's
So
I mean, it's only 40. So, I mean, it's not at the bottom. It's like 40 seconds, so it's over quick. I think it still sounds okay.
Yeah, I still enjoy that one. And to be honest, I don't mind Mr. Moonlight, but I wouldn't choose to listen to that song unless it's on the album.
I think most people don't like that song. That's usually at the bottom of everybody's list. Mr. Moonlight.
Yeah.
I
think the Hollies. The Hollies did Mr. Moonlight, and even that doesn't sound too good.
Really?
This is not a good song
on their
to
debut, I
begin
think.
with. It's not a good song to begin with.
I know Garrett doesn't even like the song in general. Doesn't matter who it is. He doesn't like. That sounds like it.
I don't know. I don't know if I've heard the original. I probably have, but I don't remember. Was it a musical or is it instrumental? Maybe I can't remember.
I can't remember.
There's one that was like just an instrumental, or at one point I know. I think Mr. Moonlight might have been like a hit song as an instrumental, but one song I don't know if anybody, if you've listened to Matchbox, which is a song.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, I heard.
That one.
It's like a B-side to a single, so it's like a very obscure song, and I hate that song. I hate to say it. I don't like Carl Perkins. Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby and Honey Don't are at the bottom of my list. I don't know why. I just don't get into Carl Perkins for some reason.
Do you like the Carl Perkins songs he did with Paul McCartney? He did one called Get It and one called, I think it's called My Old Friend or something.
No, I don't know those. I know he did Blue Suede Shoes before Elvis took off with it and made a huge hit. I don't know. It's just this 50s style that I don't care for. For some reason, Carl Perkins just never. Anytime I listen to him, it's like, I don't get this.
I don't really know much of his stuff.
Yeah, I don't know very much. Just the stuff that people cover. Anyways, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of Kansas City. Hey, hey, hey. To be honest, I like the original actually better. To be honest, Bad Boy. Anybody remember Bad Boy?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That's a That's another B-side, I think, that John sings. Not particularly that great. No one mentioned Disney Miss Lizzie. Actually, that's not a bad song.
It's kind of in the middle of the road.
It goes on way too long.
And I hate that it ends the album. They should have ended with Yesterday. So I hate that they put on Disney Miss Lizzie right after Yesterday.
They could have put Disney Miss Lizzie before Yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would have been much better. A Taste of Honey.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy on that one.
Yeah, again, middle of the road.
Middle of the road. Slow Down. Not crazy about it. I think that's all I think I mentioned all the cover songs there.
Honey Don't.
Yeah, Honey Don't. Off Beatles for Sale. Ringo. I hate to say this, like Ringo's songs are always like my least favorite. Like on the first couple albums, like it's like Please Please Me, Boys is like my least favorite off of there. With the Beatles, I don't know if he probably did one. I can't remember now. And then, I think it's Beatles for Sale. Honey Don't's my least favorite, like off of that album. He doesn't really get good until like Act Naturally. I like once he gets a Help. He doesn't sing on Hard Day's Night, I don't believe, but on the Help, Act Naturally, which is good. Yeah. So he gets a little bit better around that time. Anyways, the Nick says, "Little Child, I Want to Be Your Man," and "Don't Bother Me" are dreadful songs, and their cover of Money, in my opinion, the top 10 worst. Okay, so he doesn't like Money. That's what I want. Okay. Interesting. I actually kind of like that song. It's not one of my favorite, but it's kind of grown on me. It's kind of supposed to be the twist and shout of that album. They're trying to find a song that kind of, that really good rock number for John that kind of was like twist and shout, I think. Obviously not as big as twist and shout, but I think it ends that album, if I remember right, with the Beatles.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of questions to answer as well. Before the live stream, we all came up with a question each, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Question was, what's the...
Yeah. I've already answered my one.
Yeah. My question I put out is, what was mine? What was my question?
Which song would you like the Beatles to have covered?
What song would you love to hear the Beatles cover? I think was
Yeah.
Which is kind of a hard question because there's so many songs you can pick from. But
I can only think of one.
Yeah.
And that was Tutti Frutti.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So a little Richard Hammer.
Okay. All right. That would have been a good one.
I can imagine John singing that one.
Oh yeah, John would have.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think it would have been nice to hear "God Only Knows." Have Paul sing that one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
On the White Album.
Yeah. That would work. Yeah, just have Paul sing that one because there are some videos on YouTube where they have like AI voices do like Paul McCartney, and they have like one where he does "God Only Knows," so it kind of gives you it's not quite the same, but it's kind of give you a little taste of what could have been. But I think Paul would have done a great job, and of course Paul loves that song, so it would have been nice.
Could have fit well on Sgt. Pepper's. Could have been on Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it would have been a later one for him.
Yeah,
because that was 1966, maybe when Pet Sounds came out.
66, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like imagine Paul, like, "Hey Brian, I love the God Only Knows. Can I cover it?" Like, Jesus,
and Brian,
you guys are
and Brian will be high off his mind.
Yeah, I said he'd be laying in bed.
Yeah,
you're like, "Geez, Paul, you put me in a mental institution here with your albums because I can't keep up with them. Now you want to do one of my best songs? Like just stick a knife in me, Because Brian Wilson was trying to compete with the Beatles and he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He had like a mental breakdown.
Right.
So imagine if you heard the Beatles doing "Oh God Only Knows," to be like, "Oh, like I have a heart attack or something. Like I can't live anymore. They're taking my music." But I mean, I would love to hear that anybody do that song. It's a great song. I was thinking about it. Like, again, like I said, I'd love to hear him do more Buddy Holly, of course. I was thinking they never did like a Bob Dylan. Like, I would love to hear him do a Bob Dylan, even though everybody does Bob Dylan. So, what song could they do?
Yeah, I know John in his solo stuff would do like a Bob Dylan impression.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't
I
quite
think
not quite cover it, but he'll do like a little impression of him.
I think George was the bigger Bob Dylan fan
Oh, really? Okay.
of the four. I think.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. You definitely hear the influences when you get to Help, I think, with Bob Dylan, because Bob Dylan was, of course, he introduced him like marijuana around that time, I think,
Right.
and they started smoking.
Hmm.
And it was still early Bob Dylan, I think, before he went electric in 1995. So he's still doing those great acoustic songs. Like I love, like I was saying, I mean, it's hard because Bob Dylan songs have been done to death, but so I was thinking like, what would be a good one that has been done to death? It's hard to really name one. I thought of like, I mean, like we mentioned before, the Birds already did it, I know, but I'd love to hear uh, what's the song about change?
Tender changing.
Times are changing, right?
Yeah.
I love that song. So like, yeah, like that'd been great. I think Beatles could have nailed that one. Or I like it ain't me, babe, which
Yeah.
is covered by the Turtles, but I don't think it's been covered that much. But like, I would love to hear a version of that because I love that song. I love My Back Pages. I think the Birds maybe covered that as well.
Birds
I know
did,
that's been covered, but I still love to hear a Beatles version of like My Back Pages. Like, anyways.
Chimes of Freedom could have been a good one.
Yeah, and that's another one Birds did. That it's a great song. It's impossible to find one that everybody's covered every single Bob Dylan song. So it's like, how do you find one? But love to hear them do like a Bob Dylan. I was thinking they never did Elvis either, which was one of their biggest influences. But I don't know if it's too hard to do an Elvis because maybe Elvis would have been upset. Because there was some bitterness there for Elvis,
right.
I think.
Yeah.
Like I was the king of rock and roll, and the Beatles kind of took it from me, and so he might have not been happy about that. But yeah, I still love like them do like Jailhouse Rock or
That's all right.
Hound Dog, something like that. It's just some of my favorite Beatles or some of my favorite Elvis stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of cool songs.
Heartbreak Hotel could have been a good one.
Heartbreak Hotel, yeah. Like
yeah, that would totally fit John's vocals.
Yeah, I would love to hear him do like one of those maybe, because they covered a lot of the big ones. Like you said, they covered one, Little Richard, which he was huge in the 50s, of course. They covered one Buddy Holly song. They covered a Chuck Berry song. They covered like three Carl Perkins songs in there. Another one I thought was like Billy Haley and the Comets. Their song I think would have been too. Rock Tonight. What's it called?
Rock Around the Clock.
Rock Around the Clock. Yes, thank you. I'm getting these songs. Rock Around the Clock would have been great.
I think Ringo sang that in one of the solo albums.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he did actually. Now that I think of it, don't know when though.
A year or two ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was on one of those like EPs. He did. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like I mean, I'm thinking like Sam Cooke is another favorite of mine. I would love to hear a Sam Cooke song maybe.
Yeah.
They did a Smokey Robinson song. Like I said, they love Smokey Robinson. But yeah, there's some big names there they still didn't cover. That would have been kind of fun, I guess.
What was your question, Brian?
And Brian had a question.
Yeah, it was kind of like a reversal. Like, what was your favorite time a band or artist covered a Beatles song?
I struggled with this one.
Me too. I was like,
I mean, there's been many people have covered the Beatles at some point. Probably one of the most well known is Joe Cocker when he did "With a Little Help from My Friends."
Yeah, that was one of them I was thinking of.
Yeah,
so this is probably the big one. Another good one, I think I'll mention one more, I'll mention another one, but this is probably one not many people probably have heard. I don't know if he did this on an album, but I know he's done it live. It's not on this album, but Jeff Beck, great, one of the most biggest guitar players, he actually did a cover of A Day in the Life, and there's
with the guitar,
yeah, with the guitar. So there's no vocals. It's just him on guitar, just doing the whole vocal melody on the guitar, and it's just him with bass and a drum, with a bass player and a drum. Just three players doing the whole song, and it sounds fantastic. It sounds really beautiful.
Yeah, the Joe Cocker. I would almost say I like that version even better than Ringo's version. And I love Ringo's version as well. Or I mean, Ringo sings "Help with My Friends," but Joe Cocker just kills that song. Of course, at Woodstock, I think he sang it. Yeah, that's a great pick. It was the opening of a show I used to watch called with Fred Savage back in the day. Wonder Years, the Wonder Years.
Oh, okay.
Back in the '90s, there was a I don't know. I don't know if it was it wasn't really a sitcom, maybe, but there was a show called The Wonder Years, and they would open it with Joe Cocker singing "Help for My Friends." So I remember hearing that as a kid and like, oh, I love this version of the song. I want to say Frank Sinatra. I think he sang something. I don't know if he sang on it.
Yeah, he did.
Live, but
I can't remember. It was an album, but I know he did it live.
I know he liked that song, and he sang that song, and he credited to as the best Lynn McCartney song or something like that. No, it was a Harrison song, but
yeah.
I know Elton John did "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds," and
I'm not too crazy on this version of it.
Me either.
Yeah.
I know a few people who actually prefer that version.
Really?
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah. But I find it too long. It just drags.
Yeah, I really like Elton John, but that was the #1 hit for him too.
Right.
Which is crazy. I don't know.
I know Aerosmith also did "Come Together."
Yeah, they do a good version of "Come Together."
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I do like their version.
Even the Carpenters did "Take It to Ride."
Did they?
Yeah.
Take It to Ride, really?
Yeah. Their first album was called "Ticket to Ride."
Really?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the one I've gone with is by Bill Withers. He did a version of "Let It Be."
Oh man, I bet that
in 1971.
Yeah.
It's one of Just As I Am album, which I've written is my 27th favorite album. So I've got it quite high in my top 50 albums.
Yeah, you like Bill Withers, I remember.
Yeah. I still need to get to the album again. I've only heard it the once.
Yeah, he had a great voice. I can see that being a good song for him.
Yeah.
I just remember John Denver did a couple covers.
Mother's Nature's Son.
Mother's Nature's Son, which is
that's the one I've heard, I think.
I think he did Let It Be as well.
Yeah, he did. On Poems, Prayers, and Promises.
Yeah, Poems, Prayers, and Promises, which is not bad. It's decent. Not as good as original, but I would say.
I can't really think of any others right now.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a bunch, but I just, But those are all good ones. We mentioned some pretty good ones there, so. So we did that. I thought I was like,
I guess the Rolling Stones, they didn't want to be a man.
Yeah,
that counts. I guess that counts.
Yeah, that counts. Yeah, I like their version as well. Actually, I'm sure someone did Yesterday somewhere down the road. I mean, everybody did Yesterday, right?
I know Billie Eilish did it on the Oscars one time.
Oh gosh, he ruined the song, I'm sure.
It was whatever. It was during the part where they're doing the memorial thing. You know?
Yeah, I do remember that. Now you said that, and I hated her version. I do remember that when she sang that. I was like, oh my gosh, she just ruined the song.
Which one did she sing?
Which
one did she sing?
Yesterday, yeah.
Billie Eilish sang.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure there's a really good Yesterday. I'm sure there's some good Yesterday covers out there because it's hard to do that song wrong. You can, Billie Eilish did. Yeah. It's hard to do this.
There's got an album when people covered Paul McCartney songs. That had a few Beatles songs on it. Yeah, had all sorts of people on that one.
Okay.
I know Bob Dylan did one. He did. Okay. He did things we said today. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know they've done a lot of live versions, but because they've done a lot of Beatles stuff, celebrating the Beatles. Have you watched the movie Across the Universe?
I'd still got that to watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Okay,
because they're doing Beatles songs, but doing a more musical
type of thing. Yeah, it's like jukebox musical, right?
Yeah, and they're pretty good versions. I mean, they're more it's more styled for musical, but pretty good. Like they have more of a gospel style of Let It Be, but it's done more as a choir gospel, which sounds pretty good. In there, but yeah, Across the Universe is good in the song as well. Hey Jude, they do, and they do a bunch of their versions are actually decent. I'm not a big fan of the movie though. I don't think it's a good movie, but I like the songs. I love how they do the Beatles songs. So I think the only thing I didn't like is like I didn't like Eddie Izzard. I think does The Benefit for Mr. Kite,
No.
but he doesn't sing. He just talks it out.
Oh.
And Bono does the song as well.
Oh, Bono's in the movie? Oh God.
Yeah, Bono's in it, and he does one of the Trippy songs if I remember right. They do a pretty cool version of She's So Heavy. What's it?
I Want You.
I Want You. They do a really cool version of I Want You, but it's the government singing to these guys that are recruits for Vietnam War. And so it's the government singing to them, I want you, as in I want you, recruiting or, in the army.
Okay.
So it's a different version of this. I mean, they've taken a different take on the song, but and the part where they say she's so heavy, they're carrying the Statue of Liberty across the battlefield. And it's really cool though. Like they're talking, it's not what the song means, but it's a cool idea of they're carrying, America across the battlefield, carrying the Statue of Liberty, and they're saying she's so heavy. It's pretty cool. They have Happiness is a Warm Gun, but he's in like the hospital and they're shooting him up full of drugs.
Oh wow. I feel like that would be good for the Vietnam part.
Yeah, it's like it's right after the Vietnam part, and he's in the hospital because he got injured in Vietnam, and they're shooting him full of pain drugs, and so he's high on pain drugs, and he's singing "Happiness with a Warm Gun." And it's a pretty cool version as well. But anyway,
interesting.
That just talking about cover songs, I just thought about that music.
What were your thoughts on the versions from the movie yesterday?
I was gonna say that too.
I was just gonna mention that. Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times now.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things that got me wanting to listen to all the Beatles songs.
I saw it on opening day. Like I was there, like as soon as I was there on like Thursday. Like it opens Friday, but they did like a Thursday night showing, and I was there Thursday.
I was there on the weekend it opened.
Yeah, and it's funny. It didn't open up on time. Like it's supposed to, start at 7, and 7 came along, and the movie didn't start. We're all like, "What's going on?" They're like, "We're having technical difficulties." We're like, "Crap, dang it!" So we had to wait like 20 minutes, and finally, like, "Oh, we fixed it. Now we can watch the movie." And it was like I forget, like something like that. It was that night. Anyways, but yeah, I love the versions. The guy who does, he's not like a great singer, but he does a good job at vocals. Makes it his own, and of course he's doing more of a solo acoustic version of songs. But he does Yesterday really good.
Help's one of my favorites from there.
Yeah, In My Life he does a good job on that. I think Let It Be. I love my favorite part of the movie is when he does the Long and Winding Road.
Oh yeah. That's probably my favorite too.
Because that's one of my favorite Beatles songs. I love it because he's competing against Ed Sheeran.
Right. Yeah.
I like Ed Sheeran, but a lot of people hate him. So a lot of people didn't like him in the movie. I didn't mind. But I love it because he's like, let's write a song and let's see who can write the better song. And I just love that he comes out with the Long and Winding Road, and it's like it just totally blew Ed Sheeran out of the water. I was like, yeah, you can't.
I want to mention Hey Jude.
Oh man, I hate that part.
Hey dude.
Yeah, I cringed at that.
Yeah, that was very good.
Ed Sheeran's advice. Hey dude. Freaking Ed Sheeran. But I love the music on Yesterday. I like that movie. I feel like it gets a little bit hate, but I don't know why. I like it because it celebrates the Beatles' music in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Let's see, Dad. Back when we were talking about #1 cover songs. Adam's dad put this down. Paul didn't write yesterday. Was that a wind up?
It was actually his idea to joke.
Of course.
And I agreed to it. Yeah.
And you agreed to it. Yeah, that sounds like your dad. Garrett says, "Man, I'm working right now. Sorry."
You can always watch after.
Nick, when's the turn review? Oh yeah, are you? Am I?
Yeah,
keeping...
I don't know. It's good. We have plenty of time. We have plenty of time because Nick's usually. Nick said he's pretty much free on a lot on Saturday.
Because we're almost done with this one, anyways. We're just babbling. Now.
Yeah.
I'm looking through this. Because I didn't. Let me see if I can find out where we were. I lost my place here. Let's see.
No, we saw Garrett. I saw Garrett. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. After Bryer's finished with Jason's video.
Yeah.
Okay. The Mercy Beats do a crappy version of Mr. Moonlight.
There you go. Another version of a bad version of Mr. Moonlight.
I've never heard of the Mersey Beats.
Well, yeah, what are the Mercy Beats? I wonder.
I've heard of them, but I forgot.
It's got to be a British group. That's a British name, Mercy Beats.
Why do I feel like that was why do I feel like that was like an early Beatles name?
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, I don't know if that's a joke. If he was being a joke, I don't know.
He might have been. I think what ruins Mr. Moonlight is just that beginning, Mr. Like he's like totally off key and like.
I'm not a fan of the organ solo.
Yeah, I don't like the organ. At all.
Yeah, it was nah.
Mr. Moonlight. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, Nick's got some stuff here. I would have loved to have gotten a Beatle cover on a carousel. Yeah. They could have done it because it's a 3-part harmony song, and they would have had it with John, Paul, and George. And that's one of my favorite Holly songs. I love that song. The Hollies did a whole album Dylan covers. Yeah, I still haven't listened to it, but it sounds like it's not that great of an album from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I haven't heard it either.
Yeah, that's one I need to listen to, I guess. This went from a top 10 to a full-blown music discussion.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
Yes,
Well,
I mean,
yeah, anytime we talk, I just got to talk about music. I love music.
Yeah.
it's called the music.
Yeah,
Isn't that what Jack Black said? It's called the music.
called the music.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's fun though.
The Mercy Beats were a Liverpool group. Yeah.
Okay.
It sounded like
I could have guessed that. Yeah.
I would guess that. Yeah, Liverpool type stuff. Anyway, so well, that's all the comments right now, and we got through our top 10. We all agreed on Twist and Shout as our #1. No surprise there.
I could have predicted that. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think pretty good list all around. We covered a lot of the big ones. I think of the cover songs. We had some pretty good agreements. I think Till There Was You was a pretty solid agreement.
Yeah.
And To Go to Him was another one we all kind of talked about. I feel like so. Those were the three I think we really talked about: Twist and Shout, Till There Was You, and Anna. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so we will end it here. I really appreciate Adam and Bryer coming on and talking about one of my favorite.
It's been great.
My favorite thing to talk about, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
I can go on and on about the Beatles if we.
We'll be talking nearly 2 hours about it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can just keep talking. Do you have anything coming up on your channel, Adam?
Trying to. I've got on my mind is set. I'll let you go first, Bryer.
Yeah. The only big thing I have is I have a Q&A coming up this Monday.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I think I got all the questions here. So probably maybe record it probably tomorrow and then have it ready for Monday morning. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I have at the moment.
Yeah, asked a couple in there. I remember.
Yeah, I got yours.
I can't remember what I asked either, so I'll be surprised when it comes.
Yeah.
Oh, I asked
I
that.
can't remember what I asked either.
Yeah, I got Adam's too.
I'll be like, oh, good question. Oh, that's mine. Okay. Yeah.
The next video I'm going to be doing, we're going to be doing movie reviews for the first 2 Indiana Jones films.
Okay.
I'm reviewing all the films ready for the new one.
For
I'm doing it in 2 parts. I reviewed the first two in one video, and the third and fourth in the second video. So it'll be 3 videos in total for Indiana Jones. But I've not heard very good things about the new one. But I'm
Yeah, bad
still
feeling.
looking forward to it though.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Some really big movies coming out right now with Across the Spider-Verse,
I'm watching Transformers tomorrow.
Transformers, the Beast, whatever Wars or something. The Rise of the Beast. I don't know. What was it?
I don't know.
Something about the Beast. I think.
I'm not even a big Transformers fan,
Rise
so I
of
would
the
know.
Beast. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Mission Impossible. That's the one I'm waiting for to come out. Yeah, Indiana Jones or Little Mermaid just came out as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until Disney Plus for that one.
Yeah, me too. I don't got good feelings about that personally, but
Yeah, I know.
Fast 10 also came out, I think, recently. Anyway, so yeah, some pretty big ones coming out now. We're right in the summer blockbuster period so far, but yeah. I think next week I want to do a travel vlog. I put a poll on my channel, and last I looked, it was tied between Kansas City Zoo and the World War I Museum in Kansas City. Anyway, so I don't know if it's a tie. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to
do what my brother does: flip a coin.
Flip a coin.
I'm gonna vote now.
Okay, I need someone to break the tie or something.
Yeah, I'll break the tie.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want to do something like that. I think I'll have some time next week, maybe to go to one of those places and take some pictures and videos and
that'd be nice.
Talk about that, one of my travel things.
I think I voted for the Harry Truman one.
Oh yeah, not many people voted for that one.
Yeah.
I've got loads of you questions to answer. I'm quite behind on your community page.
I do a Beatles quiz question every day. Like that's my thing right now. Is I do a quiz question.
How do you get the quiz questions to work?
What's that?
I think for me, oh yeah, you're talking about the quiz. I mean, for me,
to work.
For me, I can't do it on my phone, but I can do it on the desktop.
Oh,
like on a computer. I don't know why.
I could do polls on it though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyways, yeah, I try to do some polls and I love doing polls and quizzes. I put those up pretty frequently. I know Bryer does comparing 1970 whatever to 1970 whatever.
Yeah, that's also, and the next round will be Monday as well. So we're about halfway done. We're about halfway done.
Yeah, so we're competing. What year's the best
for the 70s?
Year for the 70s. Yeah, so those are great. Also, Bryer does great shorts all the time. And Adam does a lot of short reviews, I believe, of movies lately.
Yeah.
The only thing I got, it's a little bit of whiles away, but I'm still kind of excited. My birthday's coming up July 1st. I'm turning 40, so it's like a big day, kind of. So I want to do something. I want to do something for my birthday. So hopefully I got a live stream I'm going to do, and I don't know who's all going to be on it yet because
I'm not joined, but I'll be in the hotel room. I'll be in my villa, in the cottage I'm staying in.
Unfortunately, Adam's on vacation.
I'll be on vacation.
But yeah, I should be there.
So Bryer, you said you could be there. Yeah, I got a couple people I think they might be able to be there. Mike is working, so he won't be able to be there. So I'm kind of disappointed. I'll get Mike on there. So I don't know what I'm going to do because I wanted to get 5 people on. It was my goal, but I've only got maybe 3 or 4 people that can make it.
Who are the others? Who said?
Well, Jacob just said Jacob Martin.
Oh, okay.
He said okay or something like that when I asked him. That's all he said. So I'll see. Hopefully, Garrett said he would like to. I don't know what Garrett's schedule is like though, because I'm gonna have to do it in the afternoon because I probably will go out to eat Saturday evening for my birthday. That's what I'm planning on. I'm hoping. So I probably need to do a live stream more in the afternoon period.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So I'll see. I don't know if Garrett seems like Garrett's hard to get sometimes, but and then Norn Rad 89. I don't know if you know.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah.
Yeah, he said he could make it, I think. So I got those kind of.
All right. Seems like a good group.
And Adam's kind of like I don't know, kind of, I guess.
He'll be here. He'll be with us in spirit.
I'll try my best to be there, but I'll message you a couple of days before if I can't make it. I'll message you a few days before it.
Okay, because I mean I got some ideas of what to do on the live stream. We'll see, and I might have to just put like a link out and just be like, hey, anybody out there want to be on? I got an open spot. But yeah, I definitely want to do something for my 40th. So yeah, so I'm excited to do something. So still a little ways away, but we get ready for that anyways on my channel. So stay tuned for that on July 1st. But yeah, anyways, yeah, sorry, that's the end of this stream.
It's been fun.
Beatles songs. Yeah, thank you guys. And anybody have a good parting words or
peace and love? Yeah.
Peace and love. Yeah.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Yeah.
Ciao.